Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Catherine and this is So Much Sewing. Today is Friday Sews, and as I'm sure you are aware by now, Friday Sews was created by Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room, and it's just an awesome little beautiful package where YouTubers can post videos under that hashtag, and this means that viewers can just type in hashtag Friday Sews into the YouTube search engine and you'll come up with a whole bunch of really lovely ladies and the odd man talking about their passion, which is probably also your passion, sewing. So if you haven't done that already, then do, after you've watched this video, type in hashtag Friday Sews into the YouTube search engine and see who you come up with. You might find someone new. Everybody has their own take on sewing, their own take on life, and it's just a lovely community. Everybody is so beautiful and supportive and kind that I hope you do take advantage of that and go looking for that hashtag. Thank you so much for being here today. I really do appreciate your support. If you haven't already, I would also appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, and also if you like the content that I provide, give me a little cheeky thumbs up and hit the notification bell so that you know that whenever I post a new video, YouTube will let you know. Today I'm doing this video basically blind. I can't really see a thing. I haven't got my glasses on today, although I do have them with me so I can look at my notes if I need to. But I've realized that the light is just so distracting on my glasses. I haven't figured out the lighting. Perhaps I need to get a ring light. But then a ring light, you can often see the ring in people's eyes. So I don't really know what the right answer is, but I'm going to try doing this blind and see if this works out. The first thing I will mention to you is that I have got my Overlocker back. It went out for a service before Easter, so it was away for about 2 weeks, and I really missed it. I did make a couple of items doing French seams, so not having to use my Overlocker. This is one of them. I'll get to this in a minute. So I did manage to get some sewing done, but wow, I really felt like something was missing in my life. I just love my Overlocker. I can't tell you how much. She's come back better than ever. She really sounds fantastic. She sounds more like my sewing machine now than my Overlocker. She used to sound very clunky and noisy, but I was sewing with her and I came out and I said to Chris, wow, the difference is amazing on my Overlocker after a service. And he said, oh, I thought you were using your sewing machine, because you know he can tell the difference between the Overlocker sound and the sewing machine sound. But yeah, it sounds just beautiful. Everything's working properly and it's better than ever. This is the guy I used. This is obviously only of use if you're in New Zealand, or probably if you're in Auckland only. Auckland Sewing. He's got actually a website where there's lots of sewing machines. He actually does all sorts, industrial sewing machines, machines for stitching bags together, machines for stitching saddles, leather work, all sorts of machinery. He sells them all and services them all. He's been in the business for a long time. He's one of those guys who knows everything, and he really knows his stuff. And really nice guy, very personable, did a great job on my machine. And I was just chatting to him and we got onto the subject of thread, and I said to him, well, I can't get Marafelx thread anywhere in New Zealand. Marafelx thread being the stretch thread that Gutermann does. And he said, well, I get Gutermann, let's have a look. So we had a look through his catalogue and he found the Marafelx, and he said he's going to start ordering it in. So pretty soon, it might take a little while because Easter, you know, got in the way, but maybe in a week or so, or a couple of weeks, check out his website, Auckland Sewing, because he may well have Marafelx thread loaded on his site. And if he does, I will love him forever, because I can't get it in New Zealand. I haven't found it anywhere. I at one point bought, I don't know how many spools of thread from Minerva. over in England, and I got them shipped over to me, and I'm working my way through them, but I'm working through them pretty fast because I just love Marafelx. I think it's an amazing invention. And so I have bought some thread from the Dahlia Sewciety in Australia, but I heard on her video, she said she's finding it hard to get at the moment. So hopefully he'll be able to get it in, and all the New Zealand viewers will be able to purchase off him. I would ask that if you do go and purchase anything off his website, if you would mention my name. I certainly am not affiliated. There's no kickback. There's nothing, but it probably would be useful for him to know where the sales of Marafelx are coming from, whether it's from his current customers who just discover that it's on his website, or if it's new customers coming his way. So that is all the chat about my overlocker. What I'm wearing today is my Jolie Lab Bloom Blouse. This is the second Bloom Blouse that I have made. The first one was a amazing bright pink one that I entered already onto the Instagram challenge #SewAprilBlouse, and I wanted to make it again in this gorgeous Lease Taylor fabric, which I got from Harmer and Huff here in New Zealand. They are a sustainable fabric company, and they have the most amazing fabrics on their website. This I got as a sale, a remnant sale, and so it was at a really good price. I love this fabric. It's got a really sort of it's much more of a dense texture than I normally associate with viscose. I don't know whether that's because it's a quality product, or I guess there's all different sorts of ways that viscose can be woven. So I suppose this is just one of the ways that you can, one of the sort of formats you can turn viscose into. But I just love this blouse. I love these frills here. There's a button placket on the front and on the back. Might be a little difficult for me to show you. Button placket on the back as well. I've put these beautiful Starry Night buttons, and I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to have to quickly whip my glasses on so I can see if this is coming into focus or not. Yep. So those beautiful Starry Night buttons, I got those from Kristen at the Dahlia Sewciety, and they are front and back. I'll put some pictures in so you can see it. It comes to, oh, you can't see, but it comes to just the very top of my thighs. I love everything about it. I love its swishy style, its A-line sort of swingy style. I love these straight 3/4 sleeves. It's so comfortable a wear. It is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This version, in my previous version, I made a bit of a mistake, and so you can put the button placket front or back, but if you for example, putting the button placket on the front, then on the back you need to fold in that piece on the pattern. So because the button placket is just fold in, it's not a separate piece that you sew on. So you have your pattern piece like this, and then so that's your, imagine that's your neckline, and you just fold it in. When you're sewing it, you fold it in 1 centimeter, and then you fold it in 2 centimeters, and that's your placket. So of course you don't need that on the front or the back where you're not putting the button placket. But I was a bit of a drongo, yes, that was me, and so I cut that both front and back, even though I was only putting buttons on the back. So when it came to trying on the blouse, I wondered why it was so very gapy and big in here. I just didn't really get that until I got it, and then I went, what an idiot. So I took a centre front seam to take out that fullness, that extra fabric that should not have been there, but I found that it was still too wide and still too low. And in thinking about it, I realized that was because I only took a 5 centimeter seam 2.5 centimeters on the fold sort of thing, when in actual fact I needed more than that, because for the button placket you fold in 1 centimeter on each side, and then you fold in another 2 centimeters on each side, and then of course you put the front over the back. You know what I mean? You put the front over the other front for your button placket, so there's another 2 centimeters there, so that's 2, 4, 6, that's 8 centimeters extra that I had in the front, and I only took out 5 centimeters, so it was still too wide and low and loose and baggy, which I didn't really figure out until after I had made the changes on the pattern piece for this version. What I did is I just added 1 centimeter right the way around the neckline. I thought that that would bring it in and bring it up and you know, do everything I wanted it to do. But so I did that, and as well as that, all the extra was taken up in the button placket on the front. So I hope that all makes sense. It seemed a little bit garbled as I was talking about it, but hopefully that makes sense to you. But even though this is 1 centimeter higher all the way around, I still like the way this neck fits. I probably would be fine with it without that extra that I put in around here. I probably would be fine with it now that it's the right fit in the front. But anyway, long story short, love this blouse. And this is another of my entries into hashtag #SewAprilBlouse23 over on Instagram, and that has been run by Gabrielle from the Cloth Edit in Australia and Ruan from the Yorkshire Sew Girl in England. One other little thing I would mention about this top is when I made the previous one, I felt that I had stretched the neckline out, which I do seem to do. I need to be a lot more careful when I'm sewing necklines, but I felt like I'd stretched it out in addition to everything else that was going on. So I stay stitched the neckline this time. The pattern unfortunately doesn't mention stay stitching, even though we all know you've got to stay stitch. Oh, excuse me, I got a funny thing in my throat. So I did stay stitch the neckline, and I also used spray starch on the neckline to help stop any stretching going on, and I think the combination of the two worked very nicely. I can't see any stretching on there at all. So I'll be using that little tip of using spray starch on the neckline when I sew necklines in the future. I've made a couple of things this week. This I actually finished off a week or more ago. I was just waiting for the buttons to come in and before I could sew the buttons on. And there was, what have I got in the front? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the front. And I had 3, 6, 18 buttons. So there must be 9 on the back, so that's a lot of buttons to sew on, but it's actually a faux placket. What I've done in the past with faux plackets is I've stitched down both sides of the placket and sewed the buttons on, and that's what I did on my last blouse. But on this one I started doing that, and then I thought, no, that doesn't actually, for some reason it really sort of stood out. Well, probably only another sewer would notice, if they noticed at all. But what I did this time is I just sewed down this side so that this is actually open, and I sewed the buttons down so it sort of looks like if it wanted to, this could open, this placket could open, even though it can't. And so I quite like that little method as well, and I'll be doing that again in the future as well. But I did sew another couple of things this week, which I will talk to you about now. One is a big success, really happy with it, and the other two, I'm not amazingly pleased with them, which is very unfortunate because one of them, I just love the fabric so much. It's the beautiful coral knit that I got from Harmer and Huff. These are my remnants. This is what's left over. It's a gorgeous viscose fancy knit. That's not even the right side, that was the wrong side, sorry. This is the right side. Really just beautiful and so soft. It's washed, and I washed it in the washing machine and I dried it in the dryer, because I like to do that with my fabrics, just to make sure that I've got every little bit of shrinkage out of them. I wouldn't normally dry the garments once I've made them in the dryer. I would hang those to dry, but before I make them, I treat them mean and make sure that they are, you know, they've got every little bit of shrinkage out of them that they're going to do. So this, I mean, it's beautiful. I love the fabric, and I'm very upset because it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. Actually, I should backtrack and talk to you about the other item I made first. That was a success because it's the same pattern. So the first thing I made was this long sleeved black t-shirt. I'll move myself a bit so I can put pictures in. So yeah, long sleeve black t-shirt. It's the Stayley t-shirt from Elbe Textiles, and I've made this t-shirt several times. I've made the short sleeve, well actually it comes short sleeved, it doesn't come as a long sleeve version, but I just used the sleeves from the other option. You've got a sweatshirt or a t-shirt in the pattern, so I just used the sleeve from the sweatshirt on the t-shirt. The other t-shirts I've made have been more cropped. This version that they show you is quite a cropped version, and I had previously cropped it even more. That's my little doggy in the background. Jazz, Jazz, come on, don't be noisy. Yeah, when I was doing ballet, I made some cropped t-shirts to wear over, you know, while I was dancing, and so that was a great pattern that I used then. But this time what I did is I lengthened it so that it's, the bottom of it sits just below my bottom, and I really like the shape on the hemline. I like the curved, you know, curves at the side, and it's lower at the back than it is in the front. The way you do that is you sew the hem first and then you sew the side seams. So I did the hem on my overlocker, not on my overlocker, I did it on my cover stitch machine, did the hem on my cover stitch machine, and then I just sewed the sides down with my overlocker, and I to make sure that that end was nice and, you know, stable, it wasn't going to come undone. I didn't just snip the thread, I wove the tail of the overlocking chain into the side seam, and so I'm really happy with the way that came out. It's doesn't have a lot of stretch in the fabric, and before I made it up I wasn't really in love with the fabric. It is cotton, but I wasn't really in love with it because, yeah, it's not got a lot of stretch in it, and I just felt it was quite sort of stiff. But made up, I adore it. It's very soft, it's not stiff at all, very, very comfortable. And yeah, so I'm really pleased with that black t-shirt, and I made a longer black t-shirt to wear underneath cropped tops that I have, cropped jumpers and cardigans. So I made it quite sort of actually I was a bit nervous because I made it smaller than I would have preferred to, because you know me, I tend to like to make things too big for me, and so I was a bit nervous, but I made the size smaller. They have letters for their size range rather than numbers, and so I made a size G, which actually the measurements, the body measurements, are pretty much exactly my measurements. 109 centimeters for the bust, or 43 inches. The waist 92 centimeters or 36.2 inches, and the hip 118 centimeters or 46.4 inches. So pretty much bang on my actual measurements, but I would normally still make things that next size up, just because I don't like things that are too form-fitting on me. But I looked at the finished garment measurements, and they, yeah, the waist is 119 centimeters or 47 inches in this. So, you know, that was enough of enough ease for me to feel comfortable. And the hip was 123 centimeters or 48.5, which again was enough to give me comfort that it was going to be an okay fit. And the fit, I think, is perfect, absolutely perfect. So when it came to making the sweatshirt on this pattern, this crop sweatshirt, I made the same size. I made a size G. And I really wish I hadn't. I really wish I hadn't. I really wished I'd gone up 2 sizes. The reason for that is that thinking about it now, I realized, I think, where I've gone wrong. And that's because the seam allowance is 1 centimeter. But my fabric, where's it gone? Oh, I've taken it away. But my fabric is so lacy that the edges were fraying and coming apart, and you know, it's not like a nice firm straight edge like on this fabric. It's very lacy and frays and bits come off it. So I realized I took a larger seam allowance because I wanted to make sure that I was getting everything in and not you know, because it's hard, because it was actually tricky to sew. Here we are, I've brought the fabric back again. So, you know, this is what I mean. I knew it would be a bit of a tricky sew, but see where the lacy pattern is, sometimes you end up with, you know, quite a hole there. And so, you know, like if you're cutting, the edge is actually there, you want to make sure that you're getting, you know, that the garment's not going to fall apart. So I took a bigger seam allowance, and I also used bias binding on the seams. That's the rib. The rib fabric is not a great match, I have to say, but it doesn't look too bad in the scheme of things, but it's probably a little dull for this beautiful bright fabric. So pictures will be going in, I'm sure. But like, for example, around the neckline there, I've used the bias binding. And on the, you know, the shoulder seams. And so I just feel like that makes it a little bit too stiff. And around the bottom here, this fabric is so beautiful and soft and drapey that it's kind of lost its beautiful drape, because this is now so stiff because there's the hemband there, but it's got the bias binding, and it just looks a little stiff, I feel. And also it's a bit too small because I took the larger seams, so it's not the oversized sweatshirt that I was looking for, not the oversized fit that I was looking for to go over my black t-shirt that I just made, especially to go with this. I can wear it with, probably with the singlet dress that I am showing you pictures of, presumably. So it does sort of just go over that okay, but it's not the look I was going for, and I still think it looks too small on me. I just can't get it right. Either I make stuff that's too big for me, or I make stuff that's too small for me. I can't get that happy medium. Mostly I make stuff that's too big, and I'm just trying so hard not to do that anymore that I went a little bit too far the other way. But hey ho, I don't know, maybe my sister will like this. Sarah, if you're watching, is this something that you would wear? It would look a lot nicer on you, with you being, you know, a smaller build to me. But you know, you live and you learn. It's just such a shame. I am really upset because I love this fabric so much. I'll put a picture in of a previous Stayley that I made, which I was thinking was too big, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to size down substantially. I think that was a, let me see what size I made in that. Originally I made a size L in that, which is 134 centimeter bust as a body measurement when I was larger, and so I just felt it was too large for me. But I'll put an image of me wearing it in here over my beautiful long sleeve t-shirt that I've just made, and really at the end of the day that's the kind of look I was going for with my gorgeous orange coral knit. So I'm just going to end up probably wearing this Stayley instead. Shame. And the last thing I'll talk to you about is my project where I'm going to use this gorgeous French terry that I got from the Dahlia Sewciety in Australia. I love it. It's gorgeous. I've got 2 meters, so I probably could make a Stayley in a larger size to wear over my black t-shirt. I'm thinking about that, and I really do like the idea of that. I have to say, I love the idea of that. But my other idea is to put it with this French terry that I got at a great price from somebody's D-stash. They're very similar weights. And what I thought I would do is make the, can you see that? I have to put my glasses on to see if you can see. Yep, there we go. That's the Cashmerette Stanton hoodie. This is the expansion pack, which is part of my Cashmerette Club fee that I pay each month. This is one of the patterns that I got, was the Stanton hoodie and the expansion pack. So what I would like to do is make this hoodie, well, it's a dress really. It's a bit long. I would only want it to go just to my upper thigh rather than down to the knee, but I thought I would make the top part poppy, this part the poppy print, the kangaroo pocket in the front poppy, and then this side piece black, and around here black, and the sleeves black. I won't do the hoodie. I would do something more like this. I won't put a zip in it, but I'll do possibly, I'm not sure exactly what I'll do with the neckline. But so that was the that's something that I'm very seriously considering doing with this gorgeous fabric. I'm really in two minds. Should I just make the Stayley and wear it over the black t-shirt, which I will love, I'll love that, or should I make the Stanton hoodie? What I'm going to do is do a toile of the Stanton hoodie. Do you remember I bought this crazy camo with this gold? This is like literally gold, sort of painted on the top. I bought 7 meters of this a few weeks ago with the idea that I was going to make a leisure outfit for both my husband and I. So I thought I would make that Stanton hoodie, the log hoodie slash dress thing, out of this. It's is it French terry? I don't know if it's French terry or not, but it's certainly got a similar backing to it. It's not looped though, it's flat. There's not a lot of stretch in it, and it'll be interesting to see how it comes up. But anyway, so I thought I would make the Stanton dress top thing out of this anyway, and see how I go, see how I feel about it. So that's probably the next thing I'm going to do, is trial that. So then I've got my leisure outfit that I said I was going to make out of this fabric, and also I will know whether I like, I have more of an idea whether I'll like the poppy and the black French terry made up into that sweatshirt. So that's the end of my Friday sews for this week. So yeah, there were some hits and there were some misses. So, you know, I guess that's a pretty sort of pretty average for most people. It's hard to make all hits, isn't it? Well, it is for me anyway. But anyway, that was that. So I hope you'll stay tuned to see how my Stanton goes in this. And yeah, please do let me know. I'm still on the fence about the poppy fabric, about whether it can be the Stayley to go over my black t-shirt. I've got 2 meters. The Stayley doesn't take much at all. It only takes about 1.6 meters. Yeah, it only takes 1.6 meters. So is that then wasteful, because I'll have quite a lot left over? And I'm trying not to waste fabric. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. Answers on a postcard, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.